What is your blind spot? Hello friends, my name is Fred. I'm an author, life coach, and host of the Time with Fred podcast. And our daughter recently got a learner's permit, and I was out with her just doing some driving lessons, and I was talking about some of the safety tips when it comes to driving. And I remember coaching her through when you sit in the car, the kind of things you need to do, and adjusting your mirrors and why that's important. And we talked about the importance of blind spots. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, there are about 840,000 accidents attributable to blind spots here in the United States alone. And out of that, about 300 deaths arise out of that. These days, modern technology in cars makes it a little bit easier for us to identify blind spots. Some of the cars will beep and you'll see that signal letting you know or alerting you that there is a car in your blind spot. However, though, they also tell you that you can't fully rely on those signals or those modern technology alone, right? That you have to occasionally turn around and scan just to make sure that you're not missing the car in your blind spot. And as a driver, you don't also want to be in another car's blind spot for too long, right? Because what happens is if they don't see you, there's a tendency they may switch lanes, and then that could result in an accident. Just as blind spots are important to any driver, blind spots are important in our personal lives as well. In medical journals, this is called Anton syndrome. This was named after the Austrian doctor Anton, who first discovered this syndrome in the lives of his patients. And this is actually caused by damage to the occipital lobe in our brain, which accounts for color, form, and some of these visual things. In fact, some of his patients, when he first discovered this, would argue when he placed objects before them for them to identify. Cognitively, they knew they were okay. But when it came to them identifying some of these objects that he placed before them, they could not. And the strangest part of it was that these patients didn't realize that they were suffering from blindness. Some of them actually argued that they could see and that they were either in the dark or someone had turned up the lights or that they didn't have their glasses on. They were oblivious to the fact that they were blind. And many of us go through life the same way. We're blind to the fact that we're blind, right? We don't know what we don't know. To lack the self-awareness to identify the things in our own lives that have the potential of being destructive to us. When I interview people in the workplace, one of the questions I love to ask is for candidates to tell me what some of their strengths and opportunities are. So many of them will go rattling off, I'm a critical thinker, I'm this and that. And then I'll ask, what are some of your weaknesses, or what are some of your own blind spots? And this takes them a while sometimes to identify, which tells me that many of us as individuals don't pay as much attention to our own blind spots as much as we should. And so that's the question I want to pose to you today, my friend. What is your blind spot? What are some of the things that you're not aware of that have the potential of being destructive to your life as an individual? Have you thought about that recently? And if not, well, we have it. I hope you take some time today to identify what some of those blind spots are and what you can do to make sure that you're aware of them so they don't end up destroying you, destroying relationships, or destroying the things you love. What is your blind spot, my friend? Thank you for watching, and until next time, think on these things.